to the show, the eternal show. We're never gonna die. We're gonna live forever. It's Valentine's Day today, and I'm drinking some Prosecco Rosé. It's kind of pink, and my dog's asleep at my feet, and my recording bar is red, and the hang-up bar is red on my Skype call, and Mike's tongue is red through his heart fingers, and red is apparently a Valentine's Day color. Oh, seventh heaven. No.
What do you need, smack? Do you
Welcome
think that
to
Valentine's
Go
Day...
ahead.
Do you think that people with certain types of color blindness wonder why Valentine's Day is all about green?
Yeah, I think so, because and the main reason that I think people with certain types of color blindness think that Valentine's Day is all about green is because it's never been, they don't know that they're colorblind. Nobody's ever told them. And also nobody's ever told them that Valentine's Day is all about red and pink.
Yeah, they all think it's about green and seafoam.
And seafoam. I love seafoam.
Seafoam
my
is so
favorite kind of
romantic.
foam.
It reminds me of doing it on the beach.
Getting sand all up in my coo-choo-choo-choo.
Oh, speaking of seafoam, I was just watching a video on Twitter of someone in Ireland.
Video?
I was watching a video on Twitter of someone in Ireland, and I thought that it was, at first I thought it was just like a ton of snow in Ireland. And I was like, oh, man, that looks pretty. And then I realized the snow was gooey. And I was like, oh.
That it was so seafoam?
Yeah, well, and then, so I thought, oh, it's just someone made like a little maquette or like a snow globe, and that it's just like weird gooey snow. And then I read the caption, it was like, it's foamy. And I was like, what? What do you mean it's foamy? Like, how does foam get over? And then it was high winds, and yeah, it was like people's homes
just like
and
lifting
yards
it up
with feet of foam from the sea.
So weird.
And it was so
I bet
gross
it
and
smelled
gooey.
horrible.
Probably
like
smelled
fish.
like dead fish. Yeah, ugh, like a fish
Some people
market.
would love that shit. They'd be like, "Yeah, I'm real fucking hungry. I could eat 10 pounds of salmon."
I would
And,
love for me to get a McDonald's fillet of fish right now and dip it right into this foam.
Fuck the McRib. I want that fillet of fish.
And then they just
Give me
yell
back.
at their bass on the wall, you know, the talking singing bass that they've now
Yes.
rigged with a Raspberry Pi to order McDonald's. They just say,
Wow.
fish, order me the good stuff. And it's like,
It's
McDonald's
Ireland's
flavor is
version.
coming.
It's Ireland's version of Siri and Alexa.
We both have really great Irish accents. Order me the usual good stuff.
I could really get some salmon. It's a Southern American. Oh, geez. Whew. Everybody, welcome back to AAWY, the And Also With You podcast from Affable Idiots. Every week, join us, you know, the two of us here, and all of your other lifelong friends as we laugh together, share secrets. It's not really a secret, but you guys don't know it, but the garbage folk hadn't taken our trash in weeks because of all the snow. And
Really?
finally they came today. Yeah, it was awful. It was ridiculous.
Is it
And
because you didn't
people-
shovel, or just that they didn't come down your street because it was icy?
People
Or
don't shovel. I don't know if you remember, but a lot of the time, like, they'll shovel in front of the buildings, but they don't
Yeah.
shovel the crosswalks.
yeah.
And so they can't get the dumpsters and whatnot. And so the homeowners association manager, I assume that's who that guy is, the president of it or whatever, and our really freaking loud upstairs neighbor, two separate people, were like breaking up the ice every morning, just waking me up, pounding at the ice, going to Pound Town on the ice. And they finally came today. They were supposed to come yesterday. I don't know. We've got like over a foot of snow accumulated, and it's just been well below freezing for like 2 weeks, so it's not going anywhere. And we're getting 4 more inches to 6 more inches tomorrow.
Yes.
My
Speaking
dog
of going to
didn't
Pound
poop
Town
for
on the
days.
ice.
Yes.
It's what?
My dog didn't poop for days after we first got all this snow. She was like, it's too cold. I can't poop on the sidewalk. I'm a lady. But now she'll just poop on the sidewalk.
Do you think, speaking of Pound Town on the ice, do you think that Christy Yamaguchi has ever had sex on an ice rink? It's like out in the middle of the ice.
I don't know if she has, but I bet Tanya Harding has.
Tanya hard on the ice. Do you think now? Here, if the answer is yes, do you think it's because they did a routine? They were practicing the routine on the ice, and it went so phenomenally well that some onlooker was just like, "That was incredible! I have to have you right now." And they ran out on the ice, and then with consent, they did it.
If it's not that one, then it was a partner routine. I think it's happened twice, maybe. Maybe it's that one, but then it's also a partner routine. And it's one of these things where everybody's suspected that there's something going on, but nobody's ever admitted to it. Nobody really knows. And then they do this like romantic dance routine, and it goes off without a hitch. And then at the end, they come to their thing, their final pose, and then Christy snaps up and looks into their eyes, and then they look back into Christy's eyes, and they're looking into each other's eyes with their eyes, and then they embrace, and they start doing a makeout session. And they're like, we're only going to do a makeout session. And then it ends up being sex.
I like the idea of it. Like, it's a session. Like, it's been reserved. Like, we've got the ice rink signed out for the next 24 minutes. We have scheduled a makeout session. We had a practice session.
Now we're going to do a makeout session. Yeah, it's all in the books, so they can get their, making sure that the time is appropriately allocated so that everybody gets a correct amount of time on the ice.
Correct. Very good. Great discussion.
Or what if they break down the ice into like quadrants? And so they only have the one quadrant, and they're over there like making out and having sex, and other people are in their quadrants practicing and whatnot. They're like, what is going on over there?
Oh, your blade is slipping over to my quadrant.
We know so much about ice skating, figure skating. True. We're basically figure skaters ourselves. Well, that's the secret. We've shared the secrets. And I would say with that last conversation, we even strengthened our friendship.
Already.
In this off-color, Mr. Rogers-esque show. That's me, myself, am one of your hosts, Jesse Neal. Hello, nice to meet you. Good to see ya. And with me here, I've got Chad Michael Ennis.
Hola, me llamo Miguel Guadalupe Santana Inés. Yo tengo escuela mañana.
You do have school tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
It's the two of us, and it's all of you lifelong friends listening and watching across the world with David Attenborough. Because he narrates a lot of these nature shows.
Does he?
Planet Earth.
Every time I hear David Attenborough, I always think of Dave Attell instead, which is a very different human.
Who's Dave Attell?
Dave Attell used to do that Insomnia show on Comedy Central. It was a late night show.
Oh, yeah. Very different guy. David Attenborough has a much more soothing, wonderful voice for like Planet Earthy type shows. And obviously for the documentary that will one day inevitably produced about Affable Idiots and the making of the podcast.
Correct.
Assuming David Attenborough is not dead or has been brought back to life through some sort of future science. If he has passed
future
by
science
the time this
called
happens. Reincarnation. I'm so happy to be here with all of you.
And also with you, Jesse.
Mike.
Yes?
I want to ask you a question. And I need you to answer. It's a poop quiz.
A poop quiz?
I want you to answer honestly.
Okay.
If you had to choose between becoming a vampire or a werewolf, which would you choose? And why?
Do I have the ability to ask follow-up questions?
Sure, yeah. If I can answer them.
Okay. Am I the hot kind of werewolf and vampire, like from Twilight?
Well, yes. We'll say yes. Like, you're the kind, if you're a vampire, you can still walk around in the daylight, but you can't eat food.
Oh, I can't eat food. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do.
And you look like you.
Okay, yeah. I'm
So
gonna do
if you
a
think you're
werewolf.
hot, then that's pretty vain.
I'm gonna do werewolf, and
Okay, tell me
here's
why.
The first and foremost is that I get to die. Like, werewolves don't live forever. I don't want to live forever. I don't want to live past 30. Spoilers, I turned 31 on Wednesday.
I know, happy almost birthday. Spoilers. I mean, technically, the day after you turned 30, you lived past 30. Because you hit 30 and you passed 30.
Damn it.
You're
I'm
still
already
30.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no!
I never want to be like. I watched a video of a woman who was like
You sound like
110.
such an old person. I watched a video. Second time today you said you watched a video.
But I watched a video of this woman who turned
what else would you call
110 and she was singing a song. Like, she used to be some. I don't. It was
I
a
know
song.
you hate old people.
And she looked like. She
We don't
looked
hate
like
the old
someone
people, you hate the
stretched
babies.
some muslin over an anthill, and that anthill somehow was moving its mouth, and out of it was coming. And I was like, I never want to be there. I never want to. That's not an enjoyable life for me, and so I don't want to get old. So I want to be able to die whenever I'm ready to die. So I want to be a werewolf.
I mean, as a vampire, you can die whenever you're ready to die. You just have to stake yourself.
Just you gotta figure out how to set the stake up on the ground and then fall on it in the right way.
Yeah. Or do
Okay.
it yourself. Don't be such a wuss. Just stab yourself right in the heart with the wood
Okay.
stake. With the meat steak.
But there are other considerations here. If I don't want to die, it's harder to kill a werewolf. Silver bullets
Yeah.
are harder to come by than stakes. You can literally
It's true.
whittle anything in your home into a steak.
And silver is more expensive than wood.
Plus, there's garlic everywhere. Restaurants all around town, in people's homes. You can't see your reflection, so it doesn't even matter that you're hot. So, I'm not gonna choose vampire, but also, yeah, I don't want like the propensity for drinking blood.
Yeah.
Like,
you
you
always
have
have to
to drink
worry,
blood?
like, am I going to snap and
Especially
like kill my
during
family?
COVID? Whose blood am I gonna drink while trying to avoid COVID? Whereas
Well,
a
as a
werewolf, you
vampire,
could
I
like
think
get
you
a
wouldn't
sexy
get
cage
COVID.
during
You're already
the.
dead.
Yeah, but I could still spread it from one person that I suck their blood
You could
into
spread
another.
it.
Yeah.
You could spread it, yeah. And you don't want to do that. Like, what if you suck the blood of some poor COVID person because they need money to pay their COVID bills because the American healthcare system is terrible? And so they paid you to drink their blood. And then you go home to your lover and you drink their blood because you're lovers. And that's what lovers do. They share blood. And now your lover has COVID and then they die. And it's your fault.
Yep.
But not because you killed them drinking their blood, but really you did kill them drinking their blood. It was just a delayed killing of drinking of the blood.
All because you chose not to be a werewolf.
Right? All this time you could have been a werewolf.
Yep.
I like it. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Plus,
Yeah, and then to get around the like self-controlled while you're a wolf during the full moon, like let's build a sexy cage with some restraints.
Put a nice sexy pole in there, and you can do some sexy pre-turning dancing. Excuse me, I burped my Prosecco Rosé. Nice.
But I'm not saying I'm changing my answer yet, but I did just think of another thing. Like, if I choose to be a werewolf for those reasons, and then I'm caging myself during the full moon, what's the benefit of being a werewolf? Where's the cool part of it?
That's true. What is the benefit?
I don't think there is. I think there's just not as much shitty. There's less shitty
You
whenever
probably
you're a
heal
werewolf.
faster, right? You got to think you have like a faster healing time
Yeah.
or something.
I could probably grow my beard quicker.
You probably smell more. Like, not you
Yeah.
have more of a stink, but you can smell better. But you might have more of a stink. I don't know.
Don't they play like baseball in the movie with the Twilight movies? Don't they play baseball and like werewolves are good at baseball or something?
The vampires play it in Twilight.
Oh, gotcha.
The werewolves don't. The only reason I'm asking this question is because I found a new trilogy. It's about vampires and witches.
Oh,
It's a TV show that
Are all the
was
witches
made
female?
from the books. No, there are males. There are male ones too, but I think they're
Are
just
they called wizards or are they called
they
witches?
probably
Or
call them
warlocks?
wizards. Probably call them I think they call them wizards. I think, but it's a trilogy, and the first book is called A Discovery of Witches, and it's what the show is called. And I started watching the show, and I was like, ooh, I'm in the mood for a dumb fantasy novel. It's been a while since I read like a dumb. This one's much better written than the Twilight books.
Oh.
And it's also well,
Okay.
and the Twilight books were more for like children, young adults.
Right.
This
well, it was
is,
written by
it's
Rebecca
fantasy.
Black, who was 13 years old when Friday came out, right?
Basically. And this is more geared towards adults. It's at least that's how it's written. It's better.
Is it one of those sexy novels?
Not
for
really.
adults?
I mean, there is obviously
Okay.
there's a love story between a witch and a vampire. Like you can't have that kind of a thing and you don't have the love story. But no, it's not like a sexy. Tell me a sexy story. No, it's not smutty or anything like that. And it's just I've been enjoying just reading like fun, dumb vampire and witch stories, or these books. And so that's where the question came from.
Well, what would you
But I
choose?
didn't want to ask you. That's a hard question. That's why I asked it to you. I would probably also choose werewolf, because I don't know. I don't want to have the constant fear, or while I'm around like humans of drinking, of like killing them on accident because I was
Right.
like, I'm a little hungry. Because I can be a real bitch as a human when I get hungry. Imagine, just imagine if I was a vampire and I got hungry. I could terrorize a whole town or village. I don't want to do that. So I think I would probably also choose a werewolf. I think so.
So,
I mean, there's not a whole
We
lot
are
of
the
benefit.
Affable Idiots, the
but-
werewolves of the internet.
Werewolves of London. Isn't that a movie? Werewolves in London.
There's
Werewolves
a werewolf
of London.
in Paris.
Werewolf in Paris.
Maybe Werewolf in London is related to that. Maybe it's also a movie, a sequel, perhaps. I don't know.
Werewolf in London. I knew it was something. It's something. An American Werewolf in London.
There's definitely an American Werewolf in Paris as well.
Is there? So An
Yes.
American Werewolf in London is a movie. And then, let's see, Werewolf in Paris. Let's jujule it. An American Werewolf in Paris. Yeah, it must be like a series. So An American Werewolf in Paris. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. It's a horror comedy. It came out in 1997 and has a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
7%.
7%, but on IMDb, it's a 5.1 out of 10.
Ooh.
And then
That's
an
because they don't
American
explore the
werewolf-
scale.
Explore the scale. Explore the scale. And then An American Werewolf in London, it's the original. It came out in 1981. It has a runtime of an hour, 37 minutes, and it has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, a full 80% more.
80% higher. Yeah, that's
And it's got a 7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Oh. It's pronounced Immy Dibby.
Any dibby?
Immy
Any
Dibby.
dibby'll do. Any cock'll do.
That's what roosters say in the morning. Hey, cockatoo!
Stupid. It's so dumb. I love it. Okay, what say we move on to the healthy
What say we?
competition section? What say? Last week we played America's favorite game, Phoebe Wall or Bridge. And I got everything right. And then when I was telling Casey about that game, he said, what wall did he choose? The Hadrian Wall? And I said, yeah. That's exactly it. And I said, I didn't know, but I got it right. I didn't know that was a wall, but I said, that could be a wall. And it was. This week, we're playing a new game called Name That Addy.
Ooh.
So these are, so I'm going to give you like a question or like a description, and you have to tell me what it is or who it is or like what the word is I'm looking for. And it has addy in the word.
Okay.
Most of these, or many of these, were found on Urban Dictionary. Not all of them,
Great.
but a lot of them. There are 10. What say we get started, hey?
Let's do it.
Okay, round 1. From Urban Dictionary. A fine, handsome, and sexy-ass intelligent man that makes you smile and drip every time you see him. He knows how to handle business in and out of the bedroom. How low-key... You low-key want to have his baby. He makes all parts of you excited, including your mind. He smells good, looks good, and is good.
I'm going to say, although there's a 10% part of me that's hung up on this, I'm going to say it's a zaddy. That's what people call a zaddy. Yes!
That is a zaddy!
I thought the part that was getting me is I thought zaddy was a gay thing, but it says you low-key want to have his baby, and I was like, oh, I guess it's an everyone thing.
It must be, because I also thought that, but according to this Urban Dictionary definition,
Which is the ultimate source of truth.
the ultimate source of truth, it's not always a gay thing. It's a fine, handsome, and sexy-ass intelligent man.
All right.
Because daddies aren't always fine, handsome, sexy-ass intelligent.
That's
Not
right, ass
always
intelligent.
all of those. Now, this one I think you might get just based off of, I think you've seen one of these shows.
Okay.
So, Laura Palmer's bookish cousin, or the main character from HBO's Euphoria.
Oh, but what is her name? She's Mary Jane in the new Spider-Man movies. Oh, man, she's in The Greatest Showman.
Yep.
What is her name? She's gorgeous. I want her.
Not her real
She's
name.
my zaddy. Oh, wait.
Her real name is Zendaya.
Oh, that's right.
The character's name. The main character's name.
Okay, sorry. Say it again.
Laura Palmer's bookish cousin, or the main character from HBO's Euphoria. It's her character's name.
Okay. I can only really think of one person's name with an addy.
Does it have an addy in it?
It's Maddie. Is it Maddie?
It is Maddie.
Hell yeah, that's badass.
Nice badass.
I'm
Your Irish
badass.
accent is just getting better and better. Okay, round
I'm 2
3.
for 2.
2 for 2. Ooh. From Urban Dictionary,
Okay.
a South African expletive, often used to describe a right arsehole.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm familiar with this one.
So, South Africa was colonized by England.
The Brits. Right.
So
Right,
think about a word that they use,
Yeah.
but add a South African twist.
A right arsehole. I'm gonna. This is probably not right, but the only British word I can think of with an addy in it is laddie, and it's more Scottish. I'm gonna say it's a laddie, and the South Africans co-opted it into being a slur.
You were close. It's bladdy.
Bladdy? What the hell
Because
is
the
bladdy? That sounds
English
like someone
word is
made it up
bloody.
to rhyme with laddie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically. That's what they were like, I know that Jesse Neal is going to come up with this game however many years in the future. No, so they took the word bloody and they put their South African twist on it, and so it's a bladdy.
I thought the South African twist was just they add a B to the beginning of everything. Blalo, blah, blah, blue.
Blah, 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 blame, blame, blah, blee, bleo. Blah, blah, blue. That would be awful. Nobody would know what anybody's
South African
saying.
accent is amazing.
It's amazing. Chappy.
Chappy story? Chappy hungry.
Okay. Now, I didn't know this one. You might know this one if you know
Okay.
this game.
Ooh, okay.
So,
okay.
for some reason, a lot of Eastern European streamers have misspelled this jump scare horror game with this word instead of the title character's real name.
Oh. So it's a spoopy game that a lot of streamers are streaming, and it has an addy in it. Well, the game doesn't necessarily have an addy in it, but the
game does not
misspelling
have an
has an
addy
addy in it. Okay.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Let me think of all the spoopy. Wait, can you read the last part of it? Are they misspelling the game's name or like a character's name?
It's a character. So the game has a character. The game title has a character's name in it, and they have changed the name of the character in the title to a name with addy. So it's a jump scare horror game. They misspelled the jump scare horror game with this word instead of the title character's real name.
Okay. So let me think of spoopy games with jump scares. Alien Isolation. Outlast. That's all I got.
It's neither of those.
Outladdie.
Another laddie. What if all of these were just laddie?
And it's just one of them. It's a collie that saves kids from wells. What is laddie? Evil Within. Resident Evil. I'm gonna have to take a blank on this one.
You want me to just tell you?
Yep, just tell me.
It's Fratty from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, damn it. Damn it. Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay. That's a game that game is so weird to me because it's a game that does not look appealing in any way to me as an adult grown person. And it does not look like it is intended for children, but it is huge with kids. Kids fucking eat that shit. And that bear, have you seen screenshots of it?
I don't think so.
Just Google Five Nights at Freddy's real quick and look at this bear that is the main character of this series. And it is fucking terrifying, but kids eat it up.
Five Nights at Freddy's bear.
Mm-hmm. And it is not a kid's game, from what I can tell.
I don't.
Yeah.
His cat.
And it's like young kids, like elementary school, like 5 to 9, love this fucking game.
I would not let my kids play this game. Not unless I wanted them to grow up to be serial killers.
Yeah.
Ugh, you can buy a plushie of him with his razor sharp shark teeth covered in goo.
Yeah.
He's scary. Ew, I don't like him.
Nights at Freddy's. I can't believe I missed that.
It's okay. Next
time.
Ought to be young. Next time. He said, ought to be young. Stupid. Okay. This is from Rick and Morty.
Ooh, okay. Fart.
Hopefully this will help you.
I like this name, Fart.
So, a guy who has a phone hotline where any full-grown adults who are avoidant and lonely can call him just to talk about things. If you call him repeatedly, Beth will be very disappointed in you.
Oh my gosh. Why do I have no idea what this is? I've seen that whole show like 3 times. Can you read it again?
A guy who has a phone hotline where any full-grown adults who are avoidant and lonely can call him and just talk about things. If you call him repeatedly, Beth will be very disappointed in you. I have a feeling Jerry must call him a lot.
So this...
Jerry?
I immediately am thinking
Jerry?
Sleepy Gary, but...
Sleepy Gary.
Yeah, that's her husband's name is Jerry. Oh my God. Who is Beth annoyed at people talking to? Her dad, Rick. She's annoyed at Jerry talking to Sleepy Gary. She's annoyed at...
Cool friendship.
Frick. Frick on a stick.
Frick on a stick.
I've been watching a lot of Scrubs. That's an Elliot Reedism.
He sounds like it.
Now I'm just thinking of things that rhyme with frick instead of addy. Damn it. Okay. Batty. Bo body. Ado Annie. Addy. We already said Maddie. Claddy. Fratty. We've already said. We've already said Zaddy. Bird person. Oh, Mike Crumbopulus. No, Crumbopulus Michael.
Crumbopulus Michael.
Gearhead. Mr. Meeseeks. I'm lost. I'm lost again. This is tough.
Want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell me.
It's Taddy of Taddy Mason. Taddy Mason is the guy.
All.
I didn't either. I didn't either. I just assumed you and your savant.
Maybe it was from one of those like episodes that's only the weird commercials.
Let's see. Let's see if we can locate Taddy Mason.
To D.
Taddy Mason is a character who appeared in the episode Look Who's Purging Now. Let's see here. If we can. Oh gosh, he wears a football jersey with the number 22. Let's see. He's a guy who works a hotline where avoidant, full-grown adults can call him just to talk to him about anything. Ever since Jerry lost his job, he's been calling him day after day and even obsessing over him. He's also voiced by Justin Roiland. It doesn't say exactly the episode he's in.
I do vaguely remember this episode.
Did you Google him?
Yep.
He's light curly brown hair and has a white and orange football shirt with the number 22. Taddy Mason. That's such a Taddy. What a white boy name. Oh, boy. All right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. You've got 2 for 5 so far. We've got 5 more to go.
Okay. I can rebuild. We have the technology.
You can do it. I'm dancing with my hands over my face for you. Okay, from Urban Dictionary.
Okay.
An abbreviated form of the term graduation party. Often used to prevent a sentence that uses too many words.
This one, it seems like it's really easy, which might be a trick, but I'm going with gratty.
You got it!
Yeah!
It's gratty.
Oh, I needed that. Sometimes you just need a win.
You just need a win.
It just feels good. Feels good to win one.
Oh, you're going to love this one.
That's from The Office, when Kevin is like, when I forget what he won. Oh, maybe it was the Olympics. And
when they said gratty?
No, the feels good to win one quote.
Oh.
And he's like, ever since his wife divorced him and left, or his girlfriend broke up with him or something like that, and he's like, he's been feeling really sad, and it's really hard to come to work, and it feels good to win one. And it's just like one of those moments you're just like, oh my God, my heart breaks for you.
Oh, that show is so good.
Yep.
I think you're going to get a kick out of this next one. I know I did.
It's a kick in the glass. Tang. Let's go.
Kick in the glass. Okay, this is also from Urban Dictionary.
Okay.
Marvel's one and only thick purple titan. The only thing he's making disappear is your asshole's elastic nature.
Okay, this has to be a ginormously endowed fatty.
Yes!
Like a Thanos daddy? Yes!
All right. Is that great? Okay, this is also from Urban Dictionary. It's a gender-neutral daddy.
Ooh, that's the definition, just gender-neutral daddy?
Yep.
Ooh. I don't know how to pronounce it, but most gender-neutral things that I'm familiar with replace things with an X. So I'm going to say it's Xaddy or Shaddy or Zaddy with an X.
You are correct. I think they pronounce it Zaddy. I'm not sure. But yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was
Street
like,
smarts.
well, I have to put a gender-neutral daddy in. Okay, we've got 2 more. Are you ready?
Okay. Spaghetti.
You are 5 for fighting. AKA
I was
5
literally
for 8.
just right before we jumped on the Skype call together. I was literally just singing, "I'm 15 for a moment." I think my dad was whistling it downstairs.
Caught in between
There's still time for you.
time to something, time for shoes.
We're beautiful.
Never away. It's so fucking catchy, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 more.
Okay.
So, according to Brett Gelman, a sexy man of Hebrew origins with a great big beard and bald head.
Oh. Hebrew origin, big beard, bald head. So
I know you can do this. I know you can do this.
I'm torn between Jaddy and Haddy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the road less traveled and say it's Haddy.
It was Daddy.
Damn it.
A Jewish daddy. I appreciate your road less traveled attempt, though. So you're 5 for 9.
All right,
So
5 for 9.
Are you going to end this with a full 50% or just over a full 50% or 60%?
I'm gonna do a
either
full
be
60.
50% or
I'm gonna do a
60%.
full blown 60.
Are you going to pass in college with a 60? Or are you going to fail in college with a 50?
Well, you technically don't fail if you can just pay to take the class again the next year.
Oh yeah, and also this specific class is just pass fail, and if you had fun, you won, which is what my PE teacher said. So you passed. This last one comes to us direct from Urban Dictionary.
Very good.
Any human who is sexually aroused by common household chairs. This fetish for gyrating can also be extended to lounges, sofas, and recliners.
Oh my God.
You're not gonna get it.
I don't think I'm gonna get it at all.
Come on, you gotta try that.
Sexually aroused by chairs, lounges, sofas.
And recliners.
Is it sexually aroused by the sight of them or by sitting on them? Because those are different words in my brain.
Them.
Just
I
buy
think
them,
just
okay.
buy them. I think perhaps
Okay.
both. I think maybe like you can look at a person that you know and be like, that person's hot as hell. And like
And you can also sit on that
maybe
person.
you are also aroused when you sit on them. I think maybe it's both.
Okay. I'm gonna guess. I'm trying to think of like a good prefix for sitting. I'm gonna guess shady, like a chaise lounge, but with an addy in it.
I'm so sorry to tell you that is incorrect.
Demont.
The correct answer is craddy.
Craddy.
A craddy. I mean, obviously. So you ended up with 5 out of 10. And honestly, I think that's really good for this
That is pretty
absurd game.
And I was this close to a 6 out of 10 on Jaddy,
You
but
were.
I had to go with the
you were.
craddy.
I think that was a matter of principle, and I
Right.
think you won for that one. You didn't get a point, but you got a life point.
Absolutely, I got a life point.
Thank you for playing this week's game of Name That Addy. I hope you all had fun playing the Addy game with us and got a couple of laughs, especially at Fatty. I know I did.
Oh my God, thank you for saying that, person who's listening right now. It's weird that you can speak that in delay and into my microphone. Yeah, that's how time works.
You're a weird old fart.
You made an Addy game about zaddies and caddies and craddies.
So stupid. Oh, what fun. What fun we've had. I think it's time that we move along and have some more fun of a different kind.
Ooh, like a horse.
We're going to do an honest discussion. How much horse would a horse of a horse could horse?
2 pounds.
2 pounds.
A horse, 2 pounds of horse.
Last week, we played our fun Create a Tongue Twister game that Mike and I just do on accident a lot of the time. And we created 2 amazing tongue twisters. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, I highly recommend that you go and listen because we came up with some really good tongue twisters. And the game was good, too.
And
I think I did the best on that game I've ever done on any game on this show.
You did V good. And, the tongue twisters themselves were entertaining, but it's really the look inside our brains and how we get to that tongue twister that really is fascinating.
It's really a look into who we are as people.
Right. You see into our souls.
Right in with your spectacles. Or without. You don't have to have spectacles. Just because you have perfect vision doesn't mean you have to rub it into me in my shitty eyes.
Don't rub your shitty vision in my eyes.
Mike, why don't you tell us what we're going to talk about this week?
Ooh, I want to talk about saving for retirement as a millennial. And what you do, what I do, what people should do. I want to begin by saying we are not financial advisors. We are not telling you how to spend your money. I'm just curious, what are the options out there and what do we think people should be doing?
Yeah.
Because it's very different. I will start with a short little tale of when I was a young lad and I was starting to get my first paychecks.
Laddie?
A young laddie. Starting to get my first paychecks, and really the only advice that I got was from my dad, who said, just put 10% of everything that you make, of every paycheck, into a savings account and don't touch it. And that was the only financial advice that I ever got. And I've discovered over the last 15 years since then that's bad advice. Putting it into a savings account.
There's more you can do. That's a good start, but that's less of a savings for retirement, more of a savings for, oh no, I have a lot of healthcare bills, or I had a car wreck and I need to buy a new car, or something like that. Where you just one big expense, saving for a big expense.
Yeah. So I just I'm curious, what have you done in the past? What do you do now? What should people, or what do you think more people should be doing that no one's doing? That kind of thing. That's what I want a discussion to be as today, because I do think a lot has changed since our parents grew up.
A lot has changed. Now, when our
Everyone
parents grew
back
up,
then
you could
was
just
buying
have
bonds, war bonds, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't even know what that is or where I would get it
bonds. Yeah. And back then, you could get a job that could support you and a family of 5 with a high school degree or just a bachelor's degree. Now you have to have at least a master's, sometimes even a doctorate, to get anything to pay you even a little bit.
Yep.
People with doctorate degrees still don't even get paid enough sometimes.
So this discussion I really wanted to be about millennials and Gen Z, people who the economy's broken for us, it's destroyed. Literally owning a house is the biggest thing that's looming over
such a dream.
Yeah, it's oh my god, I can't wait to be 80 and hopefully have a house by the time I'm dead.
I'm gonna die in a home I own, not in a home I rent.
So you're right. Yeah, it's changed a lot in that aspect as well, because they could just be oh yeah, I'm gonna go be I'm gonna make minimum wage bagging groceries and have enough money to support my family of 4 and a big enough home for all of us as well.
What a dream.
That's definitely not the case anymore.
No, it's not. Well, let's start with, since you mentioned your dad mentioned the savings. Let's start there.
Yeah.
This is not the only thing you should do by any means, but if you're going to have a savings account, which you should have a high yield savings account, such as you and I believe, both use Barclays. Are you still with Barclays?
Yeah. It took me a while to realize that, but yeah, I'm with Barclays now too.
In interest, not on this past year of taxes, but this past year of income. But the year before, I made over $100 in interest.
Yeah.
This year, I think I made like 60 or 90. I forget what the first number looks like. I forget if it's a right
Part
side
of that's
up or an upside down. And part
Was
of
I
that is
looking at
because
it this way?
or was I looking at it this way? Part of that, the reason it's less this year is because I made less this year because my hours were cut due to the pandemic, and because the APY. Yeah, the APY has gone down considerably because of the economy.
It was like almost up to 2% the year before the pandemic, and now it's at like 0.5%.
Last I checked, it was at 0.4%.
Ugh. Woof McDuck.
It's bad. It's Woof McDuck indeed. Let's see. I can look right now and tell you if it will read my face. Will you read my face? Thank you, phone. Thank you, phone, for reading my face.
You're welcome.
It is currently at 0.40, which is not a lot. It's still more than you would make with a savings account with like Bank of America or Chase or Fifth Third. Is that what your bank was? Fifth Third Bank?
Correct. Yeah, those often, people don't realize this, but like the savings accounts there, like, oh yeah, and you put stuff in it, interest accrues.
Something.
It's 0.001 or 0.002 for most of those. And it's like, that's not going to get you anything.
So you need a high yield. You and I use Barclays. Casey uses, I think it's called Marcus. It's part of I think it's part of like Goldman something or other.
Goldman Sachs,
I think. Marcus Savings account. And I will tell you, so the company that I work for has it is part of Goldman Sachs. So Marcus by Goldman Sachs. So the company that I work for has a financial advisor on staff for all of us. And these are the two accounts that he recommends most are the two savings accounts, one or the other. They're both pretty similar. Generally, they have the same APY rate throughout the pandemic, and when they've been decreasing, there have been times when my Barclays has been like 0.1 or 0.05% less than what Casey's Marcus was at. But prior to that, we were at the same amount, the same APY. They're both very good. I highly recommend that before you open a savings account, though, you research the best ones and just make the decision for yourself which one you want and which one best suits your needs. But I highly recommend Barclays or Marcus. They're both very good.
There's also a special type of savings account you can do, too, if you're looking to not touch that money. So you mentioned, hey,
I forget what this is called.
It's a CD, I think it is.
That sounds right.
And so it's like for 6 months at a time or for 12 months at a time, as long as you don't touch that money, like it will have like 4% interest instead. And that's something that you can get through a traditional bank as well.
And that, exactly. And that no matter what, even with the economy, that rate doesn't go down. So long as you don't touch it within that amount of time. Which is great.
Right. So if you have a chunk of money that you're like, I want this to last a while, and I'm not saving this for, my car, I have to get a new transmission on it or something like that, and I have to pull the chunk and change out. Like, this is something that, like, this money is for saving. I'm putting it away. That might be a good option for you, too, at least in the short terms, too.
Yeah. It's very important to have a savings account. It theoretically, when you do retire, you will still have the savings account, so that's really good because you'll have that already, and that's after-tax dollars, which is really good. So assuming or hoping or whatever that you can get that to a good amount, you'll have that good savings when you retire. But most people, at least I think in the world, but in this country at least, a lot of them don't even have a savings account, let alone have even a couple $1,000s in savings. So it's just important to have that, especially in the event, like we've seen within the last year, you lose your job. You get furloughed, you get laid off, anything like that. It's just important to have that, especially if you rent or don't fully own, or if you're still paying off a mortgage. That way you can kind of have a buffer on yourself to pay your bills and whatnot until you can get back on your feet. So that's just really important, just sort of to set you up to begin with.
Yeah.
And thank you for mentioning the CDs. That is a huge thing. I didn't know about those until the pandemic. Casey was telling me about them. I didn't realize about them. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, they're things I've never used myself, but it's I was aware of them, but I was always like, for most of my life, I've lived paycheck to paycheck, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait for payday so that I can buy groceries or so that I can go see a movie or whatever it is. So I had never thought about, oh man, I would love to put a large amount of money in a thing where I can't touch it ever again. Like, I'd never considered using that.
Right, yeah. But I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, get like, you know, have it come into like some sort of an inheritance, or like family has given them something, you know, like have gifted them some money or something. You know, unless you need that money right now, you know, if you've come into some money for any reason, put it into a savings as high yield as you can get it. And if any of that amount you feel comfortable and safe putting into a CD for you know, and you can explore with your bank, however, you know, the different options on length. That's a great idea. I mean, it's a great idea because you can generate more money for yourself that way, which is just a great idea. Now, after that, let's see. Do you think we've covered all of the savings account stuff?
I think so, but there are several other ways that I think people should be saving money long term instead of savings accounts. I think you brought it up already, like right up front. It's like savings accounts are good for they're low interest generally, so they're good for, oh, I'm saving up in case of an emergency, or I'm saving up to buy gifts at Christmas. So I'm putting pieces away throughout the year so I can buy presents without having to load up a credit card. I think that's what savings accounts are good for. But when you're saving long term, I think there are a lot of other better things out there.
Yes.
Starting with, actually, I want to bring up, it's kind of a mix of the two. I think there are a lot of really good apps out there nowadays. And just like the smartphone and app economy right now has opened up a lot But I think there are apps like Acorns. Possibilities. You're right. Rigatoni. But have you ever used like an app like Acorns, which will take every single thing that you spend, or every time you buy something, it will take the change left over, round it up to the next dollar, and put it in an account?
I haven't, but I know about this. And you use that, don't you? Or you did?
I did a long time ago, like when it was first a thing, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah,
that's a good,
I seem to remember when we were
way.
first living together, you were doing that, I think.
Yeah. When I was living like really paycheck to paycheck, a lot of times I started thinking like, there's no way I could put money away right now. I need every dollar I can get. But if it's just like 40 cents here, 20 cents there, and I don't have to actually do it, like that's a way to like stealthily steal from yourself and put it into an account without really realizing that money's going away and
Steal
missing
from
it.
yourself to give to yourself. It's a real Robin Hood kind of thing.
Exactly. So I think that's a really good thing to look into. I've taken that same mentality, and I've actually just applied it to just a weekly thing that I have occurring, where it's like I will transfer $25 a week, just automatic transfer from my bank account, because I know that that's small enough now that I won't really realize it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's contributing to my savings over and over.
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah,
a really
whether
good
it's an
idea.
app or whether it's something you set up yourself as a recurring transfer with your bank or something like that, like, I think it's a really good option for people too, as a way to steal from yourself little by little.
Oh, so good. That's helpful. And having a budget is good too, especially. And there are good apps you can use for that as well. Casey uses an app. I don't use one. I probably should, especially now that I'm making less. I mean, I'm making like Liberty Travel wages, like pre-move into corporate travel kind of money right now. It ain't cute.
Yeah.
It is not cute. But Casey uses an app called Mint, and you can set up. You can set up like your budget of like, I want to spend this much towards groceries, this much towards entertainment, this much towards eating out, this much towards whatever, and you can tie it to your credit cards, to your bank accounts, and so I guess probably to your debit and your credit cards, either one or both. And when you pay for something, the app reads what you've done and tells you what you've spent in each of these different things, so it sort of tracks for you what you've spent towards what you have designated as a specific budget for this specific type of thing, which is really good. I mean, that's really good and helpful. Especially, it's just important to keep your eye on your money all the time. Anytime you get a paycheck, look at it and make sure it's right.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So many people don't do that. Like, so where my job currently, I'm getting paid. We are working 4 days a week right now. They've cut our hours. So I'm working 32 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week. Is that right? Yes. That's 1 day less, 8 hours. There it is. Math. And over the Christmas holiday, I took close to 2 weeks off, and I noticed that, and so what we have to do is you have to go in and request time off, and I requested a full week off because I didn't want to, I wanted the full week off. And it automatically, unless my manager who does the pay, who like goes in and submits our hours, goes in and like thinks to change that. But like, why would she? Because she's been paying, like when we log in and log out, it's just been 4 days a week, and she hasn't had to think about like, don't want to do the 5 days. And so the day after I got paid, I went and I looked and I was like, that's more than I'm used to. And so I told her, and luckily I got to keep that money because it was from my vacation time, so it was money that was essentially mine anyway. But like, you gotta keep an eye on your money because companies mess up. Nobody's perfect. And it has happened where people have been paid for less than what they were owed. Yeah. You don't want that to be you.
I've heard horror stories. Someone I know that like they accidentally got paid too much for one paycheck as well. And then the company's like way of rectifying that, they didn't realize it at the time, but the company's way of rectifying that was just like, all right, we're not going to pay you as much as you should be paid next 2 weeks from now. And so they were like, fuck, we have all this money in our account and we spent it, like thinking we had it. And now we were relying on having a full paycheck next week, but it's not there. And we're like, oh my God, now we got to budget. We got to like scrounge around and live off this small amount for the next 2-3 weeks until the
Also, I will say, if you notice you've been paid too much,
chances are it's going to come back to get you.
You own that money.
Yep.
Don't just assume that you got some sort of an advance or bonus or raise that you weren't told about, because usually you're going to be told about these things. So don't just, if you get paid more than you usually get, don't assume that that's yours and that it wasn't an error. Follow up on that, because it is likely, and a lot of companies do that. Like if they overpay you in 1 month, they underpay you the next month to make up for it, so that over the 2-month period, your average is what you would get. And that can really F with you and your budget. As clearly as evidenced, is that even a word? As shown to us by the person you were speaking of. You just gotta, money ain't no joke, honey, especially in this economy. Like
in this economy?
In this economy. So just like keep an eye on your money at all times.
Keep it on the traditional route, like 401ks are something that I feel like a lot of us don't. The meme of it all is we went to high school and learned a bunch of useless shit when they should have been teaching us like fiscal responsibility and how taxes work and 401ks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I feel the same way. I still don't really understand 401ks, but I know that it's going into a place. I'm contributing money to it. My company is matching a certain percentage of that, and then at the end, like it's being invested on my behalf, whether I choose how it's invested or someone chooses that for me. Yep. But that's the thing that people often, they're like, oh, I don't really understand it, so I'm just gonna like overlook it or bypass it. Or they have a 401k from another company that they worked at, and then they move companies, and then they're like, oh, I should transfer that over so that it's now all part of one, or they have multiple ones everywhere.
There are pros and cons to that, because if you don't transfer it all over, you have more of a, what do they call it, a diversity of investment. Because I think in 401ks, the money that you put in goes into purchasing stock, does it not?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then you get to choose how that stock gets purchased, or you get to say assign it automatically based on whatever rules. But what a lot of people don't, I mean, it's there. and people don't realize, if your company matches 401k contributions, like if they match up to 6% and you're not contributing 6% of your paycheck, you're like, that's money that they're willing to give you towards you retiring that you are not taking advantage of.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can afford to lose that extra couple of percent of your paycheck every month
Get rid of
to
it.
go into that. Yeah.
And it's pre-tax dollars that they take out as well. That's
For,
so that's the thing
traditional
to remember.
401k, it is pre-tax dollars. So that's like, you're going to get taxed on it whenever you pull it out at the whenever
But it
you
helps
retire.
you. It essentially helps you on your taxes on your actual paycheck.
Right,
Like
exactly.
in the now. That's super important because most companies will match a certain percent, like up to a certain percent. But in my company, currently is not matching, but that's because of I work in travel and it's, well, we all know that that ain't good right now. But they would match, I forget the percent they matched up to. I think it was maybe up to 6, or it might have been up to 5. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You know, usually they say we match up to this. That usually means you have to contribute at least that amount.
Right.
For them to match you. So make sure you're clear on your specific company's procedures and policies in that regard. Another thing you can do, and I had this with my first job here in Chicago, I had an IRA.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm not, I mean, again, not a financial advisor, and I'm not 100% clear on the difference between an IRA, and you've got traditional IRAs, you've got Roth IRAs, you've got simple IRAs. I don't know.
I think the
what
difference
all
in the Roth is that it's post-tax dollars.
Roth is?
Versus pre-tax dollars, which means that whenever you pull it out of your IRA, you won't get taxed on it because you've already paid taxes on that money.
That's good.
But I think that's a really important thing to think about too, because sometimes like companies don't set up 401ks on your behalf, or they don't match or anything like that, and then it's up to you, especially if you're a contracted employee. Like your saving in your retirement is up to you. So
and if you're a contracted employee, you probably have a 9, which means you are going to owe a lot more taxes at the end.
Like 1099, yeah.
1099, right. So with my first job, it was pretty illegal that I was considered a contracted employee because I was an office manager. It was a way for my boss to skirt the system and pay fewer taxes. But that's neither here nor there. Making like $20,000 a year as a 1099, that's considered self-employed. I think a lot of it is what that's considered, and you owe a lot of taxes at the end of the year. Because
nothing's being taken out from your paycheck every single time.
You owe a lot at the end of the year, and it really hurts. It sucks, which is another good reason to have a savings account, especially if you are self-employed or a 1099, that sort of a thing. Man, okay, sorry, I just looked up a Roth IRA, and it says it's an individual retirement plan. That's what an IRA is. It bears similarities to the traditional, but contributions are not tax deductible, and qualified distributions are tax-free.
Qualified distribution, so like taking it out rather than contributions, putting into it. Yeah.
A traditional IRA allows individuals to direct pre-tax income towards investments that can grow tax deferred. So you take taxes from it. So like in an IRA, a 401k you can only do through an employer. Is that correct?
I think so.
In an IRA, you can do either through an employer or not through an employer. Is that right? Are they all through employers?
I think IRA might be a self thing because it's called individual retirement account, right?
Yeah,
so I feel like it's like something you set up by yourself.
You can do that. The only reason I wanted to clarify is because I know some people, and perhaps more than usual right now, are not employed.
Right.
So if they were contributing to a 401k, they might not be now. And a lot of people, like gig workers, waiters, service staff at a restaurant, places like that, don't have 401ks. Like their companies do not provide that service. So it's important to have something like this that is separate from a savings account. that does actually set you up for retirement. So if you are not employed, look into even if you are employed and you have a 401k, just look into your diversifying your investments as well, because that's important as well. But definitely look into an IRA, especially if you're not employed right now. That can really behoove you in the future. Behoove you in the future.
I wanted to bring up one that, this is really what the heart of the discussion I wanted to get into is, what do you think about the stock market as a...
I wish we would have learned the stock market in high school.
Right? I feel like this is a tool...
anything about it. I have no idea. When people are they're buying and selling stocks, I'm like, where are you going to do that? Is it a website? How do you do it? I literally do not know.
That's what I feel like. I feel like as people who are middle class or lower, the stock market is just unattainable. You think, oh, I don't know what that is. That's like something rich people do on Wall Street, and it's I don't know how it works. But
this whole Reddit GameStop AMC situation has really turned the game on its head.
Even me, I've been lucky enough to work for a company that's given me discounts on stock for the company, so I've been able to just accrue it that way. But I didn't know. All I know is that there's a price and I'm making money on it, and my stock keeps going up, so I'm making money, so I'm saving it. And then, recently I started thinking, I guess it's pretty easy to look in this E-Trade app that my company set up for me and look at other things and can I just put money in there and buy stocks myself and sell it? What are the tax implications? I don't know. But you're right. This whole GameStop thing that happened last month, and everyone downloading the Robinhood app and being able to take control for yourself and say, yes, I can look into this. I can invest. I can find things that are going to be taking off. I can contribute to surefire things like Apple or Tesla or Amazon, those types of stocks that are just going to continue to go up.
Yeah.
And that I think is something that is changing the way I believe millennials and Gen Z should be investing. Because those, while they are inherently riskier than a savings account with a defined percentage that is going to grow over time, however small that percentage might be, it is still just an opportunity. That's how the rich people get rich.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is investing $1.5 billion in Bitcoin or whatever, and it's just
Bitcoin, and we all know what happened to Bitcoin.
And it's exploded right now.
Yeah.
But I was thinking
Bitcoin.
About my best friend.
What even is Bitcoin?
It's a cryptocurrency. It's a money that lives only on the internet, and it's impossible to trace or figure out where it comes from. But it's so I'm thinking about this from the lens of my best friend, who works his ass off, plans everything, is a touring gig musician. Not a gig
definitely
musician,
is not given a 401k through any employer.
Exactly right, and he was sitting around. I had jumped on the GameStop bandwagon, and I was like, I'm going to jump in and contribute X amount of dollars. And then his guitarist, he was playing some shows. His guitarist was like, oh man, I just lost this much money, or I made this much money on GameStop. And he realized, he's like, I'm out here busting my balls trying to make money and save for my future family and all this kind of stuff and for a house. And I'm barely scraping by. And all of these people around me are saying, I'm investing this, and I just made $1,000 on this, and I sold this stock, and Dogecoin is going crazy. This fake joke cryptocurrency,
Dogecoin.
So Dogecoin, yeah. Have you not heard of Dogecoin? It is blowing up. Yeah,
nice.
It's risen hundreds of percent in the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
So he was like, why am I not doing this? If other people can make money, why am I relying on the traditional methods that hardworking blue collar people have
us and blue collar people for decades.
Yep. I feel like it's almost one of those systemic things. If you are from a low income family, you are set up to fail by not knowing about this.
It is,
and it's something that I think more people should be playing with.
Thing. You're right.
Now, here's the caveat.
Is.
Here's the caveat: is that it's a little bit like gambling.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a lot of it like gambling. And so while it is an opportunity that I think everyone should be taking advantage of, and actually Holden was talking about this on a podcast with another person. He did a guest spot where he's like, what if instead of giving people money every single month as part of like relief, what if we gave them $1,000 in stock that they could invest into whatever company they wanted to support, or as an opportunity to like educate them and so yeah, so it's a little bit like gambling, so it's a little bit dangerous. Like you've been saying, like diversify. Do not rely on the stock market as your retirement plan because, as we all know,
also,
several times
sure
throughout
you know where
history,
your
it's
money's
crashed.
going.
Research
Especially
into it,
in
know
your
where it's going.
401ks and your IRAs, because if you just say like, "Do it for me," it can be anywhere, and you don't know what kind of companies you're supporting. So it's important. It's also just important to know what companies your money is supporting, because if your money is supporting a terrible company, I don't know. Like at some time, it comes down to a point when with specific companies where it's more of a, I don't want to say moral.
It is a little bit of a
opinion.
moral thing.
It can't, yeah. I mean, the way I would view it is a moral thing. Another person on the opposite side might not view it as a moral thing. So maybe I would say personal opinion kind of a thing. But like, if your money is supporting a company that, you know, employs like child labor in China, I don't know, maybe don't. Even if that, whatever that company is, gets you a lot of money, there are other companies, like smaller companies that you can invest in that are growing, and that it's just really important just to know where your money's going and who your money is supporting, because ultimately if your money is helping the billionaires that have already effed the rest of us even more, you know, it comes down to personal opinion and personal preference, because maybe investing in this money is going to get you more money in this company is going to get you more money fast. But at the end of the day, is that more important to you than supporting the company that has these horrible practices? There's a lot to consider when you do it. And of course, you have to figure out what is right for you. But really just be smart about it. Know where your money's going. Yeah. And with what you are talking about, and just like choosing for yourself what you invest, I mean, on top of and in addition to, hopefully in most cases, a 401k and an IRA, or an IRA, doing these and like choosing stock by stock for yourself what you invest in, theoretically you're gonna, I mean, not theoretically, definitely you're gonna know the companies you are investing in, and theoretically you know about whatever companies' practices and policies and whatnot.
And what a good way for us to like contribute to companies that like we believe in, and it's a great way for us to voice our concerns or voice our support as consumers to these different types of companies. So I think it's great for that, but the warning is only invest in those what you could live without. Obviously, if it crashes, or if you even that, there's two different ways you could play it. Like there's the long-term strategy, like investing in something that's going to grow slowly over time, and then there's the like day trading, like the GameStop thing that came up last month, or AMC, or all of that kind of stuff, that Dogecoin,
like where you
Bitcoin,
invest it and
then
sell it once it goes up.
Right, and I feel like that's more of the fun type of thing. Whereas, like, that's the going to Vegas type of thing, and like, I'm gonna play craps, or I'm gonna play blackjack, and I might come out big, or I might lose a lot of money, but I can lose that money. And then there's also the investment kind of thing where you invest in those sure bets. But I think that's an opportunity that's
it's a sherbet,
but it's spelled sorbet.
I couldn't help myself.
I recently have become really like into.
And you use E-Trade? I haven't done this at all, and I want to like look into it and explore it.
Yes. So here's what I do. So this whole thing we've been talking about in theories. Here's what I do. I contribute. I'm in a space right now financially where I can comfortably contribute a lot of my money into savings. So keep that in mind when I'm talking about like where I'm putting my money, because you might have to pick and choose or pick what's right for you. I contribute a portion of my paycheck to a savings account, the Barclays that we talked about. Mm-hmm. I consider that my emergency fund. I consider that I have a down payment for a car that I want to buy as soon as I move back to California. That's what I'm putting in that account. Not something I'm expecting to grow a lot. Mm-hmm. And then I contribute a portion of my paycheck to my 401k that my company matches. So I make sure that I'm getting the most out of that. And that's something, again, I just leave and let go. I might use it. There's all these different rules about it, but you can use your 401k as a down payment for a home.
They just tax you more because you take it out early, I think, is what it is. The taxes are higher.
It's tax free because you're not taking it out; you're repaying it back. But you're like taking it out. It's basically a zero interest loan. The caveat is, if you stop working for the company, you are responsible for paying back that entire loan in full.
Oh.
At that moment. So you better.
Oh, so
have
you
some
can
job
do this
security.
through the company you work for right now.
Well, anyone can do that. Anyone can take their 401k out as a down payment on a home, like specifically that use case.
Through the company that they work
for a zero interest loan, yeah. You can't take it out and be like, I want to buy a boat, or I want to go on vacation to Disneyland.
House.
It has to be a down payment
like
on a home,
yeah.
yeah. So I contribute a portion towards that. I contribute a percentage of my house. I'll never own a home. Just kidding. Hopefully soon. I contribute a portion of my paycheck as well into a stock purchase plan for my company as well. So I get to, like, every 6 months, a chunk of my paycheck goes to buying stock in that company, which over time has helped me out a lot, as I just kind of tend to usually not use that, and I'll take out a couple shares every few years for odd things here and there.
Well, the stock that for the company you work for, I imagine, is pretty stable.
Yeah,
as well,
and it's one of those that continues to grow too.
Yeah.
But then the last thing that I've started doing recently is, as I started getting into this, trying to take more control of the stock thing and understand it a bit more, is I've started contributing in August. In August, I decided I'm not going to rely just on this one stock from my company through this payment program. I'm going to start doing it myself. I'm going to invest myself. And I said, all right, the first thing I want to do is Tesla. It was in August, so Tesla was having this split where their shares were so expensive that they were cutting them to 20% the cost. So it was a lot more accessible to people. Like, all right, I'm going to buy a share or 2 shares. So to prep for that, I started putting, I think it was like $35 a week, just transferring automatically to my E-Trade account. So that when something came along like that, I would have a chunk of change to be like, oh, Tesla's dropped to a new low, or, oh, I want to invest in X company and they're at a good price right now. I have money already set aside for that.
Very good.
And it's not something huge, for like $35 a week. Like, that's a lot for a lot of people, but so like keep it small, and you don't have to buy huge part. Like, the cool thing with Robinhood is that you can buy fractions of stock as well. So you can buy like, and I think maybe E-Trade does it too, but I haven't looked into it. But like, you can buy 0.2 shares of Tesla instead of having to pay the entire share price.
The entire one share. Do you no, I'm asking you because I don't know anything about the specific type of investment, and I imagine a lot of our listeners probably don't either, just based off of how our country is run and how we're taught things. Do you have specific recommendations on specific apps? Do these apps require like a membership fee? Do you know any of that stuff?
As far as I know, you don't have to, like, none of these apps require fees.
Okay, like E-Trade and everything, you can just set up an account and send money to it?
I'm pretty sure, yes. I don't know whether it's because my account was set up by my company or not, but I'm pretty sure E-Trade, you can go in. I don't get charged any fees on making transactions, like buying or selling either.
Good.
Robinhood, I know, has no fees. And that's what really a lot of people have been using to break into it.
Why they like that app.
It's kind of democratized the stock market a little bit. So I highly recommend Robinhood. And it allows you, like, you can buy stocks through E-Trade and a few other types of things, but, like, a lot of cryptocurrencies aren't there. If you want to invest in Dogecoin or something like that. Aren't on E-Trade, right.
But they are on the Robinhood app. Is that right?
Correct, yeah.
That's good to know. That's good information.
So, yeah, if someone's looking to get into
it.
Yeah, if you're looking to get into it, I highly recommend download the Robinhood app. I think they still have like a promotion where when you join, they give you a free stock, so you can like invest that automatically have an investment right off the bat. But look into it. I really want. I think more people should be looking into the stock market because it's allowed me to have a little bit of fun, but also get me like. With some of the things that I sold AMC, and like, cool, that's enough money that I could use now to buy a cool thing that I want, a cool gadget, or go on a trip, or whatever it is.
And
that
we've
I wasn't able to do
seen
before.
how the general public actually participating in this trade can and has affected the market. And now, I love when you screw the rich. I love screwing the rich. So like all these Wall Street people, oh man, I loved it when they were all complaining about how they lost their jobs and they had to like, well, I'm sorry, you've been fucking us from the start. Like the whole practice of these people like investing your stock and then selling it and then giving you just a teeny bit of the profits, but then they keep the bulk of the profit for themselves. Like that's just bullshit. And that's just how the system is fucking us and keeping us from getting what we deserve based off of our own investments. And the system has also not taught us how to invest. That's why we have these people who fuck us. And so I'm just like, clearly we've seen how this can really affect that market and how you can make the market work for you. Sort of. I mean, if you get enough people to do it, like the GameStop and the AMC situation.
Those are, to be completely upfront, those are outliers.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are outliers for sure. And a lot of people, myself included, lost money on GameStop. Because they didn't. Part of it was all of the hoopla around it and Robinhood halting sales, so they didn't go under and all that kind of stuff.
And that's bullshit too, though. Like halt.
I mean, they're being looked into
bullshit
right now by the SEC for all of that too. So.
And it wasn't just Robinhood. I think several apps did that. Yeah. I don't remember all of them. I just remember seeing like AOC posting about some stuff about how different apps were not letting you buy, which is just, it's bullshit. It's like, look. I mean, and yeah, I know that's an outlier, and that was a lot of people getting together via a huge like social media. It was Reddit, I think, right?
Yep.
Thing, and like that's never happened before in the history of the stock market, so far as I'm aware. Like definitely those are outliers, but even still, you never know what you're gonna do, and you can definitely make money doing this, and the money that you make, you can reinvest in stocks you choose. You can, if you want to, you can also move that to your IRA. You can move that to your savings. You can do. There's lots of different options once you've accrued this money or you've made this money or whatever. You have options. Also, if you can afford it, I don't even know if they charge. Like if your bank has financial advisors, I don't think they charge you. Maybe they do. I don't know. But you can also just find and hire a financial advisor. And that they would, like if they're like freelance financial advisors or something, I mean, there would be a fee for that. But
a lot of companies have that. Like you mentioned, yours does, mine does. Like, financial advisor, you can call and just ask.
My financial advisor
when I was looking into buying a car, I was like, I just called the person and I'm like, how much down payment? I literally have not owned a car in 10 years. How much of a down payment should I save up for? What should I be asking for? How do I haggle? How do I haggle? All that kind of stuff. And they were like, well, here's some tips for you. And it's like,
it's
look into it.
It's just important. If you can do a financial advisor sexually, just kidding, not sexually. I think it's great. It is a resource that could be so beneficial to you. Just even if you just meet once or twice, maybe thrice. Just to sort of get the lay of the land and sort of help you get the knowledge that you need. I think it pays you back in the end.
Yeah. So here's my final
takeaway.
Soapbox summary takeaway.
Yeah.
More people should be looking into the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Like yourself and myself.
Yeah.
A huge percentage of us just assume that it's something that we can't do. Or that we will never understand, or that's not an option for us, but it is. And thanks to app economies and things like Robinhood, like it is more accessible now than it has ever been. And it honestly is not too difficult to understand how it works. So like there are YouTube videos, there are articles, like look it up, look into it. It's worth it. It'll pay off for you.
You can really teach yourself all about this via the interwebs, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then the work part of it is then figuring out what you want to invest in. So,
and you have to monitor that as well.
Yeah,
right. I imagine
it is accessible. You should be looking into it. That's the message I want to put out there. And
I'm going to.
And traditional savings accounts, 10% of your paycheck into a traditional savings account for the rest of your life is not cutting it anymore. Diversify.
Diversify your investments. That was a really good conversation. I learned a lot because I've always I've known people that I'm like, oh, I bought this stock, I sold this stock, a doo-doo-doo, a doo-doo-doo, and I was just like, boo 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 boo, head up in the clouds. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what's going on. We never learned this. They never taught us this, but you had to learn all sorts of really difficult honors geometry. No, AP geometry. Honors or AP geometry bullshit that I've never used since. And all this freaking nonsense. I had to read Beowulf. But they didn't teach me.
You had to read Beowulf so you could understand the Angelina Jolie version of the movie.
That I've never seen. Man, the school system really helps you, but it also Fs you as well.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't teach us the things that we actually... Fuck, don't even get me started. When you're in college, this isn't gonna pass. When I'm in college, this isn't even gonna be a thing, Mrs. Whoever my teacher is. It's bullshit. Well, so I'm gonna start looking in the stock market. Are you?
You should.
You should. To the general, everybody listening and watching, I think we all should, and then we should talk about it, and then we should all just be like, well, this is what I invested in, and blah, 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 and doodle-doodle, hashtag AAWY stock. Boop, boop, hashtag. Oh, that was great. That was fantastic. And so we should be just chatting about it on our Twitter. You can find us at twitter.com/AAWY. No, we don't have one. Affable Idiots. Man alive. Man alive, and the living is easy. You can, yes, please twit at us about it. And I'll twit back at you. I know this isn't the right word, but I'm just saying it because it's fun for me.
No, I mean, technically it's twat.
Right. Twit, twat, twat.
Tweet at us and we'll twat back.
You twats. So that would be at Affable Idiots on the Twitter. You can also find all of your favorite video game content on the Respawning Fire on the Twitter.
Where, if you are curious about the whole GameStop stock thing, we literally last week spent an hour talking about it, and Holden went through an entire timeline of everything that happened.
Boom. You should go listen to that. I hear it was great. I'm just assuming it's great. I didn't hear it was great.
It was pretty good.
Because
I was nervous going in that it was going to be way over people's heads, but it ended up turning into a great discussion.
It ended up being great. I mean, it's Mike and Holden, or as you guys might know him, Chad and Holden.
That's me.
Doing a podcast. You can also find us, please, on the YubTub. That's slang for YouTube. You can find weekly videos, all of us. This whole thing that we've recorded, you can find it. If you want to see our faces moving and our lips. If you want to see our mouths moving and words coming out.
Sometimes our faces without our lips.
And sometimes our mouths move, but no words. So if you want to see any combination therein... Please find us on the YubTub. On YouTube, we do have, and also with you, specific
links
channel.
in the bio right now.
Links in the bio. Go and look at us. You can see me put my hand by my mouth when I sing. There's also one for your funny content on the Affable Idiots. And then there is, of course, the Respawn Fire, where you can see their videos as well if you want to see their faces doing any combination of the movements that we just discussed. Now, it is our common practice to end each episode on a parting positive thought. And this week is no different.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I just kind of the spirit rose inside of me, and said, "Just do it." And so I did it.
I love it.
When the spirit moves, you guys, you just got to act. Unless it's a crime, don't do it then. Unless you know you won't get caught, and then maybe then.
It's a victimless crime.
It's a victimless crime. Casey tore an icicle off of a building the other day to get our dog excited, and I thought, it's a victimless crime. Stupid. This week's quote comes to you live from Eleanor Roosevelt.
Let me go hold the microphone up to her grave.
To her grave. She has been credited with saying, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. Do the thing you think you cannot do." Like the stock market.
Like the stock market, yeah. Amen.
It comes full circle. I always like that quote. The do the thing you think you cannot do thing, it's just, I think that's inspirational.
Yeah. Love it.
Well, that brings us to the end of yet another episode. It's been fun. This was a great conversation. Our game was stupid as hell. Thank you for joining us.
So many addies.
As always, hugs and kisses.
Hearts and sharts.
Shardy fart.